What's going on, guys? Welcome to another tutorial brought to you by the MindCrafters. This is Captain Jack, and in this little tutorial we're going to be talking about solar expansion. Alright, so if you go ahead and search this mod in NEI, you're going to notice that there's really not very many items to it. It's a very simple addition to the greater thermal compilation of little mods. But these are really cool, and it could be a different way to produce power, anywhere from very early game to very late game. So what are we going to need to make first to get started here? You're going to need to make some stained glass panes, and I have white ones here shown. It doesn't really matter what color you use, just use whatever dye that you have the most handy. You're going to need some lapis shards, and all you need to do is take one piece of lapis, put it in a shapeless crafting grid, and you're going to get 9 lapis shards. And you're going to need 3 steel nuggets, and that's going to give you this thing called a photovoltaic cell. The next thing that you're going to need to make is this thing called a leadstone solar core, and that's going to be 1 iron surrounded by 4 lead nuggets. And again, just take a lead ingot, put it in a shapeless crafting grid, and you'll get 9 nuggets. And finally, to make the leadstone solar panel, combine 3 photovoltaic cells, the leadstone solar core next to 2 redstone, and on the bottom you are going to need 3 steel nuggets, and that will give you this solar panel. You cannot interact with the solar panel. Now, before you go any farther in this mod, or before I talk about anything else, we need to cover this problem of steel. First of all, I am using the FTB Infinity pack right now, and it was just updated. And right now, there is actually no recipe for the solar expansion steel nuggets. So when I hover over this and press R, I get nothing. So there's a Railcraft option and a Tinker's Construct option, and I'll just show you how to make those two real quick. So in order to make the Railcraft steel, all you'll need is this blast furnace multi-block here, and you're going to need some iron ingots along with some coke coal, excuse me, and it will slowly turn into steel ingots here. And these work just fine. They're interchangeable with the solar expansion. Another method that you can use is a Tinker's Construct smeltery. And if you get this stuff called nether pig iron ore, and throw it inside the smeltery, you are going to get molten steel. And simply extract that molten steel any way you choose, and you will get some steel ingots from Tinker's Construct, and they'll work interchangeably with the mod. If you're shopping at the bargain bin, you can also go ahead and craft this chain armor right here and throw it inside your Tinker's Construct smeltery, and the chain armor will actually turn into molten steel. But you didn't hear that from me. You can also just take this nether pig iron and squish it down in a pulverizer and then furnace it up, and you can get steel that way. All right, fantastic. And finally, probably the best way to make steel is to take this nether pig iron ore, throw it inside an alloy smelter from Ender.io, use these dark steel balls, and what it will do is it will generally, it will still give you the 4 steel dust, but what these dark steel balls give it a chance to do is, here, let you watch this happen here. Those turn into those. These come in here. One grinds into, sometimes see it grinds into 4. Sometimes it grinds into 6. These just have a chance to boost output. So this is probably the best way to get the most steel, because if you want to get any of the higher tiers of these solar panels, you're definitely going to need a crap ton of steel. Alright, so in order to spare you all sorts of boring, I am not actually going to go into how to make all these, really. I'm just going to tell you that there are a grand total of 6 different types of solar panels, each with an increasing amount of power here. Okay, so if you open up, again, NEI, and check these and shift mouse over, they will actually tell you all about them. So I'm not going to go into them really, because it's really self-explanatory. So this one will generate 1 RF per tick. It can hold up to 1000 RF in an internal power storage buffer, and it can actually transfer up to 2 RF per tick. So it can transfer twice as much as it can generate. Okay. We have harden, which goes up to 8 RF per tick, 64 here at redstone, and then 512, 4096, and up to 32,768 RF per tick, which is ridiculous, but so is the cost. Each one of these solar panels is going to require a different solar core, okay, and I have those kind of played out here on the top and bottom-ish underneath them. Up here we have lead, and then we have invar, and then we have electrum, and then we have inderium, and each of their nuggets, which will be used to make these different cores. And when you get up to advanced, you just need, doesn't have to be lapis, it can be some sort of blue dye, and then finally some sort of purple dye going along with this. But once you get to like the redstone stage, these start getting extremely expensive, and this probably being the most hard to come by material, inderium. Once you reach this stage, forget about it. It might not even be worth it to go this far unless you have a super crap ton of resources. And when I say super crap ton of resources, well, what do I actually mean? Ultimate cost. The ultimate cost to make these things. The basic leadstone one here, which I showed you the recipe already, is fairly cheap, but it also only generates 1 RF per tick, which is pretty terrible. Next, to make the hardened solar panel, which is the next one in the tiers, you're going to need your solar core, plus you're going to need 8 leadstone solar panels, okay? Pretty expensive. To make the next tier, you're going to need 8 of the previous tier, okay? So this just keeps getting exponentially more and more and more ridiculously expensive as this goes. I believe there have been people out there that have calculated the actual cost that it takes to make one single ultimate solar panel, and the resources are in the hundreds of thousands. So don't think that this is something that you are going to have early game. This is something you're going to have after you've poked about 500 max size quarry holes in your world. This thing is extremely expensive, but also extremely awesome. Alright, so what else do you actually need to know about these solar panels? Well, there are a few things that I will show you. First of all, a lot of mods that have solar will allow you to put solar panels adjacent to each other and have them kind of extract all the power from one source. By that I mean, like if I put one here, then all the power would be able to come down through this conduit here, and that is not the case. Each one of these needs its own power hookup. It will not transfer power in a long string of solar panels, which is unfortunate, I guess, but they're pretty powerful. Next, you need to know that conduits, any kind of power conduit or power pipe, will not connect to any other facing besides the bottom of the solar panels. Okay, so keep that in mind when you are putting these down in your base somewhere. I have these hooked up to 4 different power options or power pipes here. Ender IO conduits work great. Extra utilities transfer nodes here. We have a transfer node energy. RedNet has their RedNet energy cable. And finally, Thermodynamics has this, well, this is like the beast mode version, the cryo-stabilized fluid duct. And I will have a tutorial out on that hopefully shortly. But it will hook up to all these things very nicely. Again, only from the bottom. And as with all solar panels, these will only generate power during the daytime. And from what I found, there is no fluctuation in power generation between dawn and noon. So as long as it is light out, these will be generating exactly what they say inside them. So this one will generate 1 hour per tick basically all day long, as long as it's a little bit sunny out. You can see that this one here is slowly pulling in some RF. And I kind of place these all at the same time just to give you an idea of how much power they're getting. So this one's up to like 2 million, 2.5 million. This guy's only got 1 1/3 of a million. And this guy is only at 173,000. And this is not even very far up the chain here. Not a great amount of power, but again, renewable, free. You can't go wrong with solar panels. Awesome, especially if you have like a big capacitor bank or a lot of storage. Here, power is limited by what this pipe can handle, but this thing, along with the ultimate solar panel, is just ridiculous. And I'll place this back down here just to show you the sheer power that this thing hauls in. And again, you will be needing a lot of resources if you even want to attempt to make this. All right, so last but not least, we are going to cover the Twilight Awesome. If you're just paying attention to what I just said and listen to me say that these will only generate power during the day and there is no fluctuation in variableness from noon until dawn, or from dawn and noon, noon being the hottest time or this time when the sun is the most high, and dawn or dusk being when the sun is the lowest, you're going to want to put this where it's always sunny. That's right, the Twilight Forest. Alright, now it doesn't actually look very light in the Twilight Forest, but do not be fooled. There is light. And again, it doesn't matter how bright it is. So, these resident solar panels are hooked up to some fluid ducts here, and I've got a tesseract. And don't forget to chunk load your other dimension, solar factory. You're going to want to probably put all of your solar panels in a dimension that's always sunny, like the Twilight Forest. That way you can get a constant source of power without actually having to sacrifice the lack of power generation at night. Alright, so as you can see here, I've placed my Fluidux next to my Tesseract, which is bringing in power from the Twilight Awesome, and I'm loading it up inside of this Resonant Energy cell here, okay? So, you might not have the Twilight Forest in your pack. You might have Aroma 1997's Mining World, though, or you might have, oh, I hate when that happens. You might have some other type of dimension where it is constantly sunny, and you can go ahead and use that to your advantage when you're playing around with solar expansion. But that's one neat trick, and you're going to want to do that if you make these solar panels. And it's very easy. As long as you can make a Tesseract, just make the crappy solar panels, throw them in another world, and just suck power endlessly, and all of the awesome will be yours. And that's going to wrap it up for this little tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Here's the most asked question of our entire channel. Look in the description, please. I don't know how people still don't know what these signs are, but there they are anyways. Yes, and until we make another tutorial that you can watch and learn from, this has been Captain Jack. I am one of the MindCrafters. Check us out on Facebook, our website, Twitter, YouTube, channel, subscribe, thumbs up. Don't forget to thumbs up. It goes a long way, please. And yes, that's it. And stay poised.